Turning now to the issue of property tax cuts. After 4 weeks of the regular session, still no policy talks between lawmakers in the State House and the Senate. Multiple constitutional amendments have cleared key committees in the House and are headed for the floor votes. The plans include phasing out over 10 years non-school property taxes for homesteads. Another expands homestead exemptions for all homeowners with property insurance. And a third proposal would create exemptions for seniors. The Senate has yet to debate any tax cut legislation. Meanwhile, the governor has yet to submit to lawmakers a concrete, detailed proposal of his own. This as he continues to call for a repeal of property taxes in Florida. Mike, a number of senators, we understand, have made proposals, but they have not been moved forward to committee.
Yeah, there's 14 ballot proposals, but the two chambers, the House and the Senate, have not discussed them in any great detail. A lot of that has to do with the governor coming out early saying he wants a special session. That seems to have affected the Senate President, Ben Albritton. And for him he seems to agree with that, so that's a very go-slow approach in the Senate right now. Meanwhile, the House Speaker very much wants to let's get going. We're halfway through the session now, and really no real discussion's been had, and he's frustrated with that.
The governor has said that he's looking towards perhaps calling a special session to discuss this as well.
Correct.
And the Senate President, Ben Albritton, has said that this is something that merits more discussion, that he wants this to be done, quote, the right way.
The right way. I have heard rumors like there's going to be maybe a $50,000 additional homestead exemption that's going to be tacked on. It's not going to be as broad, perhaps, as just elimination of all property taxes that are unschool board related. But we really don't know because we haven't had that discussion. So it's a lot of whispers in the hallways, a lot of just people speculating.
Jeff, you came out with a very strong guest column that you wrote in Florida Politics, where you talked about that there is no silver bullet, there's no one thing, that there are many different things that should be considered in the legislature to help increase housing affordability. And you talked about changing the regulations perhaps at the local and the county level. Can you share some of that with our viewers?
Well, I think specifically on the issue of property taxes, where we are right now is that we're headed towards a special session. Again, the governor has not released any of his plans. He's kind of holding it close to the vest. He said very soon we will have a very substantial and meaningful plan. Nobody knows what any of that means. He's had a year. He has 1,000 people who work for him. They have not produced one back of the napkin calculation to show how the math works. I think this is a tax shift. I don't think it is a tax cut. I think you have 411 cities and 67 counties that will all react differently. He has come out publicly and said, yes, I know it will bankrupt some of the cities and counties, and that will require the state to backfill those funds. But also, people don't recognize that the state doesn't have the funds to backfill them. Yes, they're running a surplus this year, but for the next 2 years at least, as far out as really they're modeling, they're looking at multi-billion-dollar deficits. So where are they going to cut? What services are going to be cut? They've come out and said, we're not going to require people to fire police and firefighters, but they don't say, okay, well, that just probably means they also aren't going to hire them. So instead of, if they have 20 positions to fill, they fill 8. Well, that's just quietly kind of leaving positions open. And so I think that's where I am concerned about even moving into a special session. My history with special sessions is oftentimes the legislature will find out what they're voting on in a special session because it's been negotiated with the House and Senate leadership, oftentimes days, sometimes hours before we actually go into special session. At the end of the day, that seems like a wildly crazy way to do public policy dealing with the foundation of the state of Florida's tax system. Listen, if you want to do this, be open and honest. The governor vetoed the $1 million that could have gone into studying this issue and laying out a plan. We had a year. He could have easily had a full plan. They've chosen not to do this.
And speaking of studying, your organization, Nonpartisan, does research on different aspects, and you all have said that housing affordability is one of the major priorities.
We know that.
And so you all have identified perhaps rezoning, taking a look at
smaller lot sizes, rezoning, accessory dwelling units. These are the things that the state needs to be pushing. Look, my big takeaway after 12 years in Tallahassee is that everything in Tallahassee is tactical. There is no strategy. And in no area is there probably really a less of a strategy than our housing plans. We have the ship and sail program, but we have no rudder in the state that's really directing the state on housing. And so we're working with a coalition of 30 different organizations to bring us a bill called the Starter Homes Act to the legislature that will focus on allowing for smaller lot size, allowing for lot splits, accessory dwelling units. All of those things are part of the solution. Again, there is no silver bullet in housing. There is only lead bullets, and you got to fire them all.